Oh my gosh, they're fantastic.
Okay, so we have a vote for the Salty California dates, which are only $2.
Yeah.
So we asked Leah if she would do a special Ghost Town Poetry happy hour once a month, and she said yes. So here are the prices, and once the reading starts, they'll be back at the bar, so please consider getting one of these. Please also remember that it's okay for you to get any items from next door and bring them over here, as long as you do not go through these doors in the front. So it's one of those rules. As long as you use the doors in the back, you can go back and forth as much as you want. And Leah, when you can, come and get this.
Yeah, from our sport. Well, it does that to me.
Okay. Welcome to Ghost Town Poetry Open Mic. It's so great to see old faces and new, and I think we're going to have a good time. Next month, we're going to have Joseph Green, who is a poet who is also a letterpress printer, and he lives up in Longview, Washington. And Constance has helped me pick out a poem from his book to read to you. Yeah, nice. Okay, so this is a pretty great book. This is the book he'll be presenting when he's here next month, What Water Does at a Time Like This. And the poem that I'm going to read from it is called Man on Ice. The road swings left, but the obstinate car keeps aiming straight toward frosted hemlocks and Douglas firs that crowd the shoulder like spectators at a cold parade. It's not their nature to jump out of the way. And knowing this is the driver of the car would be praying if he could. Maybe something is happening in heaven anyway. Something the driver is not allowed to see. The turning of circumstances, the absolution of certain problematic acts, the shifting of minimums so that even this insignificant driver might be saved. The driver, however, is ringing the steering wheel, screaming, as the commonplace simile has it, like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Thus disguising any metaphysical interference in such a way that he might later say he had helped himself, while in the meantime, a sermon from the pulpit in his brain declaims on his life as a chain of accidents, of one thing sliding into another, like his car on ice weighing in against the trees, or the way he first met his wife, slipping into the seat next to hers in a crowded theater. Or what got him into this predicament, his turning off the freeway to stay out of traffic, then drifting over the gentle swell of the road, as if his car were a boat being swept out to sea. And in one sudden reduction of logic, he sees the whole of existence as simultaneous action, and its equal opposite. Bang and recoil, tort and retort, a ball flattening against God's racket strings, then springing away from the point of impact, from the grip, the swing, the wrist snap, the follow-through. And he wants to write this down before it poofs into nothing, but right now he is too busy blaspheming irresistibly toward immovable trees, strangling the helm of his rudderless vessel. Right now, he's really got his hands full. You can see Joseph here next month, and if you're a forgetful sort like me, we have flyers on the bar at the back. I also wanted to mention, even though it's really tempting, if we could try not to place our drinks on that bar at the back. We're trying to use that bar back there for postcards and flyers and things like that. So as we always do, we invite our videographer to come up and read first so that she can go back to making us all look good on the YouTubes. Please say hello to Tiffany Verbestrand.
Yeah.
I have 3 poems tonight. The first 2 are from my friend Ringo. He gave me these prompts and asked me to write something, so this is what I came up with. The first one is Blood, Sweat, and Ice Cream. Ooh. He bled me dry as he sucked the passion from my neck. His sweat drips down my chin, stings the puncture of his filthy greed. His lips taste of ice cream, cold and sweet, as he lifts my breath right after he bites my lip. I am his. I no longer see anyone else. My throat burns only to taste him. And this next one's called Cleanse My Palate. Maybe you're the sips of limoncello that coat and cleanse salty tongues in between courses. Maybe you are what races the taste of other men upon my lips and their sweat upon my tongue. Maybe you are the new taste I long for, the mix of bitter and sweet, of sensual and comfort. Maybe I am the taste that you crave upon dry lips, the sweetness of my skin below your tongue. Maybe together we can cleanse the palate that still holds residue of last loves. Maybe we could be the perfect combination, I the savory, you the sweet. And this last one, of course, is continues my love affair with New York. So it's called When I Finally Get to New York, I'm Going to Run. When I finally get to New York, I'm going to run towards the shoreline, the towers. I will run directly at the Freedom Tower and know what it feels like to be free. I will swim towards the Statue of Liberty, raise my hands and recite, I am your poor, your huddled mass of one yearning to be free. I will stand on the ground of Ellis Island, give thanks to my ancestors that endured more than I to reach this land. I will run down the platform of the subway to catch the train to work, to play, to the museums, to the rhythm that mirrors my heart. I will run from the easiness of the Northwest complacency. I will run towards grit and grind, towards ambition. I will run from the burdens of others, the life that has been made well for everyone while I was left to rot in long-rooted obligations. I will run to love, run from those that only want to take from me, enjoy my body but deplete my soul. I will not look back, only forced to visit for my children and my friends. I will run towards the comfort of family, the comfort of support. I will run in all the races. Through Central Park, Queens, the Bronx, Brooklyn, even as far as Jersey if I have to. I will run until my knees grow weak and my heart finally beats a consistent rhythm of contentment. Please do not ask me to turn to where my heart lay in mud puddles that are stomped through in yellow rain boots. If you do, I will only run. For me, there is no looking back. Thank you.
So one of the things about having a great MVP like Steve Williams as your feature is that he and Constance are so beloved for being the most valuable players of Portland poetry. Every event I've ever been to over there, they've been there. They go to more than anybody else that I know. And also great MCs as well, just really support, is that they have a lot of love and they have a lot of support. So we have more Portland folks here than we sometimes have, and that's a reflection of that. And one of those is someone I have the utmost respect for as a poet and an activist, and so I practically begged her to read us a poem. Her name is Judith Arcana. Please say hello to her.
Thanks, folks. He actually didn't beg me, he bullied me. He's such a sweetheart, and yet. Oh my God, I didn't even think to plug. This is my new channel. It's called Here from Somewhere Else. Check it out. This poem is called Dreaming the Indian Ocean. You old ones, my people, when you passed childhood, were you surprised to learn so many had the same dream? Had you thought, like me, you were the only small one who turned your bed to a boat in the clear, deep water, a boat in deep blue sky, sailing and flying the world? Did you get where you wanted to go? Where was that? I wanted to fly in my bed all the way to the Indian Ocean, where the great whales of every sea would swim green, deep water each year, giving birth and nursing their young. What made that my dream? What could I have known then of their lives? This is the mystery left from my youth, deep in the time before knowledge. The rest, now, I understand.
Thanks, Dave. And I made a bully, but but as I told you earlier, it was with love, with lots of love. We're really, we're really fortunate here at Ghost Town to have such a good relationship with the folks on the other side of the river, and I tell people this often, so some of you have heard this before. When I first got here in 2003, nobody knew who I was. My name didn't mean anything around these parts. The folks in Portland made me feel welcome and gave me a place to do my thing, had me on the radio, so I don't mind telling anybody who will listen that it's a good scene over there. It's a friendly, supportive scene in Portland. And next we're going to hear from one in what I like to call the cavalcade of MCs, Ms. Rainy Knight. Come on up, Rainy.
I would read something of my own tonight, except I have a printer that I believe is haunted. I'm serious. Every once in a while, it just refuses to work, and it doesn't matter what I do, and then a few days later, it magically heals itself, so something's going on. But I wanted you to know about Cindy Williams Gutierrez, who is going to be a reader at our featured reader this month at Barnes & Noble, Tuesday, February 23rd, make note. And I thought I would share a couple of her poems out of The Small Claim of Bones. Here in the northwest clouds. Here in the land of the hooded mountain, in the land of spruce and fir and pine, I move to see the sky. Down country roads I tool, I stroll, break into a run and I loll. In the long cool grass, just to glimpse the sky. There are those who flirt with smallness, those bewitched by a rose, a monarch, or a hummingbird that thrums the air. But my eye trains on a lone hawk, skimming hyacinths above the horizon. The idea is not to land on the sun or moon, but to move as clouds do, to scud beyond the mind's wildest surf, fearless, capricious, and to spy the gods at play in their smoky alchemy of mist. And this is Suddenly Reconciled. One moment we stood in the kitchen, motionless, while the clock tipped on its head. The room swam, and the stove hovered, stacked with all the cakes Mother had baked when we were small. The next, my ears played tricks on me, as if we were Siamese twins. I couldn't tell which of us suddenly shot 3 arrows into the air. 3 words arced between us, trailing white flags and strange music. We could have resorted to 10 more light years of distance, and enough silence to fill the holes in every galaxy. Instead, we floated in a moment of tumbling space, like frocked figures in a Chagall. Then I remembered, this is what I had wanted to say to you. These fragile syllables that flew from your mouth, alighting on my shoulders. They pinned me to this place, time and space no longer counted. And I knew the vertigo of light again, the dizzying blaze in an open field, when light layers itself and the field levitates. Only there was no field, just your face, a full sun shimmering.
I'm going to ask the folks up here a favor, because we have some people standing at the back. If you have an empty seat next to you, could you raise your hand so those folks can find those empty chairs? Does anyone back there like to sit? You can do it now, because I'm talking, you know what I mean, interrupt me, it's okay.
I'll let you.
Thank you. I think there was one over here, one over this way. Thanks, guys. This is to help us keep that path clear to the bathroom. We're trying to do that, and I guess it's probably a good thing for safety reasons, too. Next, we are going to hear from April Bullard. Come on up, April.
finished the new story poem from my next children's book. It's called Goody's Story for Jezebel. A little bit of family history, a little bit of historical fiction, and just a little bit of fun all mushed together. Thanksgiving was held at Goody's house. Chairs and tables from wall to wall, like an ancient labyrinth garden or a legend or fairy tale ball. Soon after the fanciful feasting, all the men were out on the porch. The kids snuck down to the basement, holding flashlights up high like a torch. But Jezebel spied on her grandma, juggling chaos like a jolly queen. All the women were stepping and fetching. Goody giggled with eyes of green. The aunts were busy and buzzing like a hive of butterfly bees, clearing, storing, washing, and drying, making sure it was Goody they pleased. Rosemary, will you count the silver? Louise, dear, it's your turn to dry. Be careful when washing the table. Underneath hides a curious spy. On hooks in a row above the stove, ladle left, slotted spoon on the right. Fresh towel in the oven door handle, table linens I will wash tonight. Bessie's platter, the one with the ship that's painted in shades of blue. The Gabriel sails atop the buffet. Take the gravy bowl with you too. Jezebel rose to attention and straightened her blue checkered dress. Grandma, please tell me about the ship, and who is this lady named Bess? So you want a tale, pondered Goody. Tell me, what will you give in return? You never get something for nothing, and there's always something to learn. Jezebel tilted her head in thought, her eyebrows pulled down with a frown. What could she do to help the grown-ups? She watched as they bowed up and down. I can help with work in the kitchen, like stacking in cupboards down low, or holding the dustpan while Mommy sweeps, or setting the table tippy-toe. Goody looked down at the little girl, eager to work for a simple prize. Jezebel, dear, if you stack my pans, a true story with family ties. Jezebel opened the oven drawer, piled the cookie sheets and the lids, careful to start from large to small, built 3 rickety pyramids. Jezebel closed the drawer with a clunk. Goody gave her a wink and a smile. Now for my kettles, pots, and pans. It should take but a little while. The kitchen work done, the ladies sighed, and with their mates congregated. Grandma, may I have my story now? By the rocker, Jezebel waited. You've earned it. I always pay my debts. Goody sat like a royal queen. The story of Bessie's old platter and hurricane like you've never seen. Bessie painted and fired that platter in her father's brickware oven. Bess told all her children the story of the tempest our kin found love in. Bessie's real name was Elizabeth. Goody checked by counting her fingers. Bess was my grandmother's mother, and from her grandmother this story lingers. The tale of the good ship Gabriel, lost in a storm of 35, of William and brave little Mary, and how love at first sight survived. In 1635, 5 ships left from Old England's shore, with people willing to build a land based on simple rules and no more. Mid-August, a fearsome storm blew in, drove the smaller ships out to sea, but the Gabriel fought the maelstrom, determined to claim victory. The ship tossed like a leaf in rapids, smashed on rocks that clawed through her planks. Masts broken, decks tangled in rigging, a last towering black wave, and she sank. William was a shoemaker by trade and guarded his neighbor's cattle, patrolled the shore in the raging gale, saw the Gabriel lose her battle. Her contents wretched into the foamy brine, cast about in the wind and waves. William called the men from the village to see how many lives they could save. William spied in a flash of lightning a maiden thrown high on the rocks, petticoats clutching her healthy curves and trimmed with her wet, wavy locks. She stood like a furious angel, arms spread wide to ride the next wave. Grim resolve flashed in her fiery eyes. This instant, she'd have to be brave. The wave came with a roar of thunder. Our Mary jumped high on the crest. That wave carried her straight to William. His arms captured her in his chest. He carried her back to his cottage and tended her frail mortal shell. William and Mary wed in true love on the next full moon's tidal swell. William claimed he stole Triton's daughter from the raging waves of the sea. Mary swore she was saved by a prince, and how happy their lives would be. They had many beautiful children that married and had many more. On down through the years to you and me, their love bond has spread shore to shore. Goody sighed, I've finished my story. Hope it was worth your work, my dear. Jezebel's happy face was beaming. We'll trade again the next time I'm here.
So will you be illustrating that book too? Yeah.
Just like the soccer.
Yeah, one of the things that I really like about Vancouver is how many of the people we have here who work in more than one art form. So April would be among those who do that, including many of the people that I'm looking at tonight, including our next reader, John Kay, who's a talented artist and poet, and he's here to read something to you tonight. Can we warm up?
Good evening. This is my new book. It's called This Particular Kiss, and I'm going to read some poems from it. I wrote all of these while living in Germany, and they're all 12 lines. So you got to listen because they get over very quickly. Okay, they're not going to go on very long. I've been writing from the time I wrote this first poem, which is in this particular book. I think I've written 250 12-line poems. And I can't seem to get away from it, nor do I really want to. When I write a poem, if it's 14 lines, it's got to come down. Or if it's fewer, it's got to get bigger. One way or another, it's going to be 12 lines, or it doesn't exist. Okay. Cold kiss. I hear dead white leaves, or dead white leaf off key when he says, it's probably cancer. I dog-ear this moment, crease the corner of this word, cancer, as it kisses me for the first time. Then, like spilled paint, I free fall through the architecture of death. Cold prayers on my lips, only to find my son in his Star Trek t-shirt, his eyes climbing the ladder to my heart. We leave, sidestepping time, stuck to this particular kiss. Obad. He gives her most of his money, sending her back to Moscow, wearing one red glove in a dimly lit train. Sipping Remy Martine in the station cafe, he remembers her worried hand dipping sugar cubes into warm brandy, her broken English, her thin white body, folding forward in a bed of plum blue sheets before opening into love. She leaves with all she ever gave. He drinks, clutching the other glove. What the poems say. From a sunny bench, watching white tourist boats, leaving fingerprints on the moment, we share a sandwich and a bunch of grapes under naked lindens. Girls in tank tops who have not yet gotten their breasts trickle by. And we take turns reading poems that promise trees and girls will, indeed, get their leaves. But we won't always be here, not like this, not like now, they say. This is a poem about writing failed poems. Yeah. Okay? Ones that don't work. It's called Stillborn. Withdrawn upon issue, dying early, tapping wildly at the seaward window. You blur, you vanish, but leave a thread of rhyme from your sweater on the sill. Never to wince on the pages of time, nor bluff against the tides of obscurity, you rang and unbuttoned your coat, drift backwards now in a one-man boat. I'm going to read a poem for my son who's not here. I think. Maybe not. Yeah. Coasting toward God. Out of gas, coasting toward God. The dead need to pay their phone bills. They've left footprints on an uninhabited island, forgetting the basic combinations to a world where snow is thrown across the land like a fresh tablecloth or a patina of surreal winter blindfolds. The abyss that surrounds the living is lost to them, along with the privileges of childhood. Never awkward brides, they seldom show up at a funeral in a crumpled shirt, being out of gas, coasting toward God.
John?
One more? Controlled poetry. Only the poet's son is permitted to criticize the poet's poems. Only the poet's dog is permitted to sleep on the poet's poems. The poet's dog is not permitted to sleep while the poet reads his poems aloud. Only the poet himself is permitted to get regular poetry therapy. The poet himself has been through more than one poetry detox program. The poet himself is currently stable and writing controlled poetry. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, John. I'm glad that you made it here. I was fortunate enough to be asked to write a poem to accompany one of John's pieces, and I really encourage you to get out to see his art. Is there any place in particular that they can see your work at the moment nearby?
I have 10 or 12 pieces at the 360 Pizza in Camas, actually.
Great.
Out to the, and it's a really nice venue. The food is great. You know, the photo, I got some good photos in there. Yeah,
I encourage you to check it out. 360 Pizza in Kansas. Great. And next we're going to hear from Lynetta Johnston-Meeker. She's ready to come and read something to us.
Thank you. I have to do this thing because we're one to walk and one to read. And we gotta move my section short, old and one line and everything. So, but I can still write, right? At least I can read. This one is called Ghost Dancer. Bare legs move through the green wheat in the late summer sun. A rain-weathered fence stands, rough-hewn but sturdy, stubbornly dividing the meadow. 10 fingers wrap, one by one, around a splintered rail. Hungry eyes stare into empty shadows. Through the hazy light, a dancer appears. To turn and twist like an eagle rides the air. His thin muscled body curves to earth. His arms, outstretched, call to heaven. In the thin air, the high, mournful wail of an ancient flute rises between us. The sound is coming from me, but the rhythm is the rhythm of his dance. Does he hear it? Will it move me, finally, through the split logs of this man-made barricade? This is a short one called Friends and Best Lovers. I don't hide from you when I eat chocolate. I wear my bathrobe to keep warm. You put your feet up in my lap because you know you can. I liked you before you were my friend, and I still I want you more than I've ever loved. I let you hold me because I love you. I love holding you, too, but I won't, because I am your friend. This one was written shortly after my separation, which was in 1986. This is called Encore. Red velvet falls abruptly, like a wall. Furniture rolls past. Doors and windows disappear. One exit after the other. I stand, no script, no costume, on this empty stage, wondering when my life became an act.
One more sounds good.
One more? Okay.
Yeah.
This is a twilight swim. The afternoon sun is dropping as I stand here in the chill tide. I feel the undertow pulling against me as the early moon calls its lover. I know the urgency of the foaming whitecaps rushing after one another to the sea. But there's no hurry for me. There is no campfire on the beach tonight.
So our next reader is going to need a moment or two to set up. We're happy to have him back here again. So please say hello to Doug Westberg and then be patient as he gets himself ready to present to you.
I try to make this as smooth as possible. So far, so good. All right, that wasn't so bad. Okay, I'm back. Thank you. I have a show coming up on Friday the 26th, and there was a postcard in your chair, so please try to make it. It's going to be a really good show. Going to have special guests, Frank Sinatra tribute, one of a kind Frank Sinatra tribute called She-Natra. And I'm going to be doing my inimitable thing that I do. And my friend Gary and I are going to do a very special duet made famous by the Righteous Brothers. So you don't want to miss it. And this song is called The Big Lie. Any English teachers out there? Woo!
Some of them don't want to admit it.
Well, you'll appreciate this. It's a song about words, and more precisely about the rule I before E except after C, to which it turns out there are literally hundreds of exceptions, not just neighbor and way. So, believe it or not, that's what this song is about.
There's caffeine, codeine, lutein, and protein, served
society. Seismic scientists, glaciers, and iciest, Geiger counter, the flashes, and Waluigi's, conscientious runners in the fish, and the efficiencies, fanciers, dying on the fanciest delicacies, oracles of prescience, deities omniscient, deists, pantheists, the ones and atheists, Siemens on the human letter, burst another light, takes the heifer in the helmet, second blood, pariah, meisters here. Somebody else's revelation, Caesar being leisurely, zeitgeist, zeitgeist, weirder than a poltergeist, gesundheit. Thank you very much.
Check it out, folks, the microphone comes off of the stand. So if the stand and all the crap that's up here makes you feel uncomfortable, just grab it and walk around with it. It makes you feel a little more comfortable. Thank you so much, Doug, that was great. So, so we have a show coming up if you want to see more music from Doug. I hope that people will come out for that. And poems are songs, and songs are poems, and so musicians will always be welcome. It goes down poetry every night.
Hell yeah.
Yes. Next we are going to hear from Linda Evans. You ready, Linda? Where's she at?
Quick story about this poem here. I had a stick, thumb drive, that had all my information on it, documentation, services, and so I put some minutes on the thing and then gave it to the secretary, a copy, and when I got it back, there was nothing on it. And so I'm going through my poems, and I come across this one poem that I don't think I've ever read. And the poem came about because I was at a movie theater, watching a movie, and couldn't withstand what was happening. So I walked out, and it was raining. And I sat in the car until the movie was over. And this is what came out of it. Rainbows. Raindrops make music around you. They're a joyful, peaceful, calming sound. And an angelic conductor plays the music. What you hear, you can hear alone. An angelic choir smooths your anguish. Some raindrops can be the violin or the drum in the same orchestra. Different tones, different vibrant notes, different intensities. Our higher soul filters out the music that you hear. By an angel choir that consoles your anguish. When the angelic music subsides, a guardian angel from the choir speaks of love and compassion. Redirection of anguish, belief sets forth a rainbow by an angelic choir that supplants your anguish.
Let's have a little side conversation with Toni. I want to keep him on his toes. We MCs can do that to each other. So we're going to have one more person from the open mic, and then we will call up Steve Williams, our featured reader. And that open mic reader will be David Bend. Am I saying the last name right? And would I be right in saying that this is your first time?